You know, it's funny, looking back, I can remember the first time that Amanda had what would appear to be serious alcoholic issues. And at the time, I didn't realize or understand it because I hadn't been around alcoholism myself. And again, it's the first time seeing me. Well, I was married for 25 years, and my wife passed away from alcohol use disorder a little over 5 years ago. And there was one incident when my son was about 5, 6 years old. We used to read to him at night. We used to read books to him up in his bedroom. And he loved it. We had like 50, 60 books. I think some of them he got from his cousins. And, you know, we would sit, he had a little tiny couch and we sat there and read to him. So I was reading books to him this one night and I heard the front door just slam open, and Amanda was downstairs just kind of screaming, "Oh my God, Andy, I can't believe this happened." And my son and I were reading books and I had no understanding that Amanda had actually left the house, and it was pouring. It was one of those March days in Southern California where it was just pouring cats and dogs outside. And I quick got up off the couch, ran downstairs, and Amanda was covered in mud from top to bottom. And I was like, "What's going on? I didn't even know you left the house. Where did you go? What happened?" And she just looked at me, and her eyes were like saucers. And she goes, I got in a really bad accident, and I flipped the truck upside down. I mean, and I was just going like, "What are you talking about?" And I can remember at the time, I was really having difficulty comprehending what she was talking about. We didn't even know that she had left the house, much less she had been gone long enough to get in a serious car accident and somehow got home. But she looked at me again and goes, "Yeah, I've totaled the truck. It's flipped upside down on Butterfield Stage," which was a main road in Temecula, the town we live in. And I was just like, "What are you talking about again?" I just couldn't even understand. She goes, "Well, I'm sure the police are going to be there. Maybe you should go check it out. I'll stay here with Griffin." And I was like, "Okay, I got to go see what you're talking about. Why are you covered in mud, by the way?" She said, "The car flipped upside down. It's in the ditch, upside down." And I was like, "Well, why did you leave pouring rain outside? Why did you leave?" Which I had to go to the store. Okay. And again, real quick, I have a complete coaching program. Set up a breakthrough call. Link is in the bio. It's really designed for the family and the alcoholic. Set up a call. Takes about 45 minutes. The call is free. The course is definitely not. But I'm looking for people who want to change their life and the life of their family. So after I got over my initial shock and was still trying to comprehend what she was saying, I jumped in my car, drove down to where she said it was, and there was lights all over the place. There was 3 cop cars, and some other people had stopped by the side of the road just to see what happened. And I pulled up, and the cop said, "Keep going, keep going." I said, "Well, that's my car down there." She goes, were you driving?" I go, "No, my wife was." So I pulled over and I talked to the police officers, and they were like, "Okay, where is this person?" I go, "Apparently she flagged somebody down after the car flipped over, and they took her back home." And I looked at the car, and it was a Ford Explorer. We had a red Ford Explorer. This is about 2006. It was flipped upside down in the car. The whole top was crunched down. All the windows were blown out all around the car. She must have flipped it and crawled out somehow, and there was probably 6 inches of water and mud. That's why she was covered in mud. And I looked at the car, and the car was under about 6-8 inches of water upside down. It was destroyed. The whole car was destroyed. The wheels were flipping around, and I was just in shock. And I go, "Officer, I have no idea what the hell happened. She just came home, 10 minutes ago. I didn't even know she left." And I just said, our son's car seat was in there. I go, "Can I just grab the car seat? We're going to need that." He goes, "You want to go in the mud?" I go, "Yeah, I just need to get the car seat." So I remember running down, grabbed the car seat, and the cops talked to me, and first thing they asked me, "Has she been drinking?" And I said, "No, not to my knowledge. No, she hasn't been drinking. It's like 8 o'clock at night." Hadn't even thought of that. It's funny looking back. It didn't even occur to me that that's probably what was happening. And the cops said, "Okay." And so I gave them my address, and the cops went over and two of them went over to our house and talked to her individually, separate from myself, because they were trying to investigate what was happening. And I'm sitting there pretty much traumatized. I mean, our good truck is upside down in a pile of mud, and I don't even know what's going on. And to be honest, the cops were very nice to me. I mean, because I was like absolutely in shock, and they could tell I was. I mean, obviously my wife had just been in a serious accident, and I didn't really know what was going on. They could really sense like what is going on. And what had happened was the road was being built, and there was like this little lip on the shoulder, and she had just caught the wheel and flipped the car over. A sober person wouldn't have done it, obviously, but I remember the tow truck came and they hooked up a wire and they flipped the car over, and the whole car just really just caved. The whole roof caved in. I mean, it was just demolished. This was a really nice car too. It was just demolished. It was like, par for the course. This was about 2006. I think it was about 2006 when our son was about 6 years old. So after the car was towed away, I ended up going back home, and by then the police officers had already left our house. And by some miracle, they talked to Amanda, and they just decided that she was sober. I don't understand. And apparently she must have been sober enough to play it off, because she had Griffin sitting next to her when she was talking to the police. And obviously our 6-year-old son was probably pulling at their heartstrings at her house while she was covered in mud, and they just kind of let her go. And that was the end of that incident. And we ended up getting another car, of course. Luckily insurance covered it, but it was a traumatic event. The reason why I tell this story is because it's so important to realize what people go through when they're suffering from this disease, and what family goes through and what children go through. It's really essential to expose these kind of truths. And the thing is, hindsight is really interesting, because at that point, if I had really understood what was really going on, because I really didn't have an idea, there's no question that she should have gone into a detox rehabilitation facility and really doubled down on help. And this is 8 years before she went to her first rehab. I think she might have had a better fighting chance if she had gone in at that time. So the really important thing here, if you get any message at all from this, is that the sooner the person in your life gets help, the better, and the way better chance they have at nipping alcohol use disorder in the bud. And I know this is a little bit longer than normal, but again, this story and so many others are in Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. You can find this in the link in my bio. There's also a international link. It's also on Amazon. There's the ebook on Apple, Barnes & Noble, and also on Amazon. And again, thanks so much for listening.